What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? Welcome back to another Wednesday night with the Sanchez Show. As always, I'm your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend of Two Games. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. We're live every Wednesday night over on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. We'll get to the comment section in a minute. Shout out to Pool, Ron, Kyrie. I see y'all, man. We're going to get to the questions in a second. Shout out to Squeeze as well. NBA Cup going on tonight. We got week 15 of NFL picks going down tonight. What else we got? Major League Baseball free agency. If any questions come up about that. Obviously, a new scandal going on in Michigan. Their head coach is out right now after news broke he was fired today about an inappropriate relationship with the staff member. They haven't given out all the details yet, so we're kind of waiting to see what else is going to come of this. But it is pretty shocking because Sharon Moore, who's the head coach in Michigan, just took over 2 years ago when Harbaugh left. Jim Harbaugh left to the Chargers. Now he's losing a job under these circumstances, and because it is with just cause, he would be forfeiting almost $13 million that was left on his contract. So major news coming out of Michigan. That is going to be one of the high-profile jobs that every head coach is going to try to be attached to, or at least interview for, within the next few months. And it's difficult time. And if you're Michigan, if you're a Michigan fan, I mean, you come off the loss to Ohio State, right? They are bowl eligible, so they would be playing in a bowl, but now you lose your head coach right as you're recruiting, and you're also trying to persuade some of these young men that are in the transfer portal right now. So it's definitely a tough situation to be in. But we'll get to that as more questions come in and as more details come in. Again, shout out to everybody on Instagram. Shout out to everybody locked in on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get to some of the questions. Let's get to some of the comments, man. It's already buzzing. We got NBA Cup going on in the background. OKC Phoenix is about to tip off in a minute. I expect OKC to win tonight. I'm sure somebody's going to ask, but I like OKC to win. I talked about it on Monday's podcast with Tripp. On the east side of things, I like Miami. Miami got off to a hot start. They couldn't finish out their game. They got very cold in the second half. Shout out to Orlando. Orlando's defense is really, really good, and this is a tendency that they've shown this year, that they can get off to slow starts, but they can recover and they can lock in defensively. Desmond Bane has been great. Even with Wagner out these past couple games, Desmond Bane has been great for them, and they advanced to play the Knicks. And what I expect to be a great game. For those of you that follow me on social media, you know I was down in Orlando a few weeks ago to cover the Knicks-Orlando game, and they've played 3 times already this year. Orlando's length and athleticism has given the Knicks trouble. Now, in their last meeting, the Knicks were able to win, and obviously it's highlighted by that Desmond Bane highlight when he throws the ball off of OG Anunoby out of bounds. But this is a very good matchup, and I know the Knicks are probably going to be early favorites for this, but I like Orlando in this matchup, and I can honestly say that even as a Knicks fan, this is a tough matchup for the Knicks. Their Orlando's athleticism, their defensive ability, give the Knicks a little bit of trouble. So that's something to pay attention to when they match up in that semifinal game. But shout out to Kyrie. Let's get to the comment section. Let's get it going right here. Kyrie, give me one sec. Kyrie says, biggest reason for Eagles 3-game slide. Well, the biggest reason is the inconsistency of their offense. I don't remember which one of you guys had asked about this a few weeks ago, but when they beat the Detroit Lions in that primetime game, I have it here, it was 16-9. And the question was, is this sustainable? Could the Eagles continue to win this way? And I said at that time, they could not. I said, I don't think the Eagles can sustain this. I thought that as the competition got better, as the quarterback play that they would face would get better, that their offense needs to be better. They can't just rely on their defense consistently getting stops and keeping these low-scoring games. Well, guess what? Since then, they've lost 3 games, right? That's this 3-game slide that you're talking about, Kyrie. But I want to break down the numbers for you guys. This is their last 5 games. In terms of points scored by the Eagles, they scored 10 points, 16 points, 21 points, 15 points, and then 19 points against the Chargers on Monday night. This is a team, again, they're struggling to get to 20 points. And as I highlighted, when you play the better teams, you play the better quarterbacks, you cannot think that your defense is going to shut everybody down and keep everybody within range for you to win these games. You got to get your own offense going. It showed Monday night. Their defense played well enough. Their defense got a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert. I believe they finished with 7 sacks in that game. Their defense did enough to win that game. Their offense, on the other hand, had 4 turnovers. They had critical turnover in the red zone to end the game. They had missed passes down the field. They had a drop. They had another interception that went off of A.J. Brown's hands that led like I mentioned, to an interception. This is a very sloppy and poorly executed offense. Their defense, like I mentioned, has given up 7 points, 9 points, 24 points, 24 points, 22 points. So as you can see, the trend is after that Detroit game, as the quarterback play got a little better, we're talking Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, now Justin Herbert. Their defense still played well. Their offense just didn't do anything. Their offense, as I love to say, shit the bed. Again, you give up 24 points to Dak Prescott, that's fairly reasonable. That's a really good offense in Dallas. The real issue with that game is the Eagles were up 21-0, and then their offense did nothing in the second half of that game. They gave up 24 points to Caleb Williams and the Bears. That was more about the Bears' offense and being able to run the ball. But that's also a situation where at halftime, the Eagles are right there. They have the game where they want it. The Bears kind of pull away from them in the second half, and the Eagles' offense can't do anything. And then again, Monday night, they had opportunities. They took the lead after the Saquon run. They took the lead again with a late field goal. They didn't do much offensively, and so that's why they find themselves in this situation. And as I said to Kyrie, the issue with this Eagles team is their offense. It's not the defense. This defense is still elite. This defense is still the same defense we saw beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. This is the same defense that can still get a lot of pressure. That's evident by the 7 sacks on Monday night. They can still cause turnovers. They're pretty solid in secondary. Now, you can pick on Adoree Jackson. That's their weak link in the secondary. But I think Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are still very good corners. They still get pressure. The problem is this offense. This offense has to be better, man. Shout out to Kyrie for that. Ron, I'm going to get to that. You got some Cowboy stuff. We're going to get to that. And speaking of Ron, he had this question. Chances Shedeur outplays Caleb on Sunday? So that is a good question. And when we analyze outplay, obviously we're gonna revert to the stats. We're gonna revert to big plays that are made. Shedeur actually has a chance to outplay the Bears. The line for this game, and I think the Browns are gonna hang tough in this game. The line for this game is at 7.5, right? Yep, 7.5. I think the Browns keep it within a touchdown because their offense can make enough plays. But the real reason I think Shedeur has some success this week is this Bears defense. They're not that good. They're not good against the run. They're average against the pass. They give up a lot of yardage. The real saving grace for this Bears is that they are the best team in plus minus. They can take the ball away. They create turnovers. So in terms of plus minus, they're the number one team. They're plus 17. That's really why they've been so successful this year. But the rest of their defensive numbers, I think, favor the Browns. And that's why I think the Browns will have some success on Sunday. You're talking about a Bears offense that gives up 357 yards a game. That's 27th in the league. You're talking bottom 5 type team. Points per game, 25.8, 25th in the league, right? Bottom third of the league in terms of points allowed and yards allowed. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Shedeur throwing down the field. Judkins, I think, will have some opportunities running the ball because, as I mentioned, the Bears are not good against the run. They're middle of the pack against the pass. But ultimately, their style is a bend but don't break defense, and they're hoping to get you to turn the ball over and make some mistakes. So if Shedeur avoids the turnovers, he will absolutely outplay Caleb Williams this week. On the flip side, the Browns are the number one defense against the pass. They don't even give up 200 yards a game passing. So this is going to be a tough game for Caleb. I expect Caleb to be having to run around a lot, create plays outside of the pocket against a very, very good Browns defense. That's why I think the 7.5 is too high. The Browns are going to keep this, I think, within the touchdown. The Bears should win. The Bears, I think, have more talent overall. But in terms of matchup, this actually is a pretty good matchup for Shedeur offensively and for the Browns as a whole. Keep an eye on this game. This could be one of those upset picks for Sunday. 7.5, again, it's too high. Shedeur will have some success, Ron. I firmly believe that. Squeeze says, Patriots deserve to be the favorites on Sunday. Absolutely. Why shouldn't they be the favorites on Sunday? They beat the Bills the first time they played back in October. Good game. They beat them, I believe, 23-20, 24-20, somewhere in that range. I could double check. But the Patriots lead the division. They're at home. They're one of the hottest teams in football right now on a 10-game winning streak. They should be the favorites. However, I do see this as a potential Josh Allen MVP caliber type game. The Bills know what's at stake. Now, the Bills are going to be in the playoffs, but if the Bills want to win this division, they've got to win this game on Sunday. This is a must-win if they expect to win the division. They're 2 back of the Patriots in terms of record. Obviously, the Patriots have the tiebreaker, so the only way the Bills can win this division, they've got to win it outright. They can't have a tie situation with the New England Patriots. But the Patriots do deserve to be the favorites. Just based off of the last 10 weeks, based off their last matchup, The Bills have been inconsistent a couple weeks. We know, and I've criticized the Bills don't have the receiving core that really threatens a team down the field, but they do have that running game. And with cold weather up in New England, I expect James Cook, heavy dose of James Cook. I expect a lot of Josh Allen running around, and I expect to see an MVP version of Josh Allen in that game. Let's bounce around the comment section here. Pause. What we got here? Let's stay NFL. Kyrie wants to know Travis Kelce on Chiefs playoff chances. Tough reality to be in. Yeah, I mean, it is a tough reality to be in. You're talking about a team that for 7 straight years was at least in the AFC Championship, right? You're talking about a team that's played in 5 Super Bowls out of those 7 years. But the reality of it is they're in this position because Travis Kelce has fallen off a cliff. They're in this position because Travis Kelce has had 2 of the bigger drops this season in critical moments for them. Go back. Will, let me know once you're situated. Let me know what's good. You go back to that game against the Eagles where he bobbles the pass at the goal line that leads to an interception. At that time in that game, they were down 7 points with an opportunity to tie the game. You look at the situation against the Texans. He bobbles a pass that leads to an interception. They're down 17-7 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You're supposed to be Mahomes' money guy, and you have not delivered or performed, and you've fallen apart yourself. So the reality of it is that Travis Kelce's play and his decline has been indicative of what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't a bad team. Mahomes is still an elite quarterback. But when you look at their 7 losses, all of these losses are 1-score games. Will, what's good, bro?
What they do, baby?
How you?
How everybody feeling tonight, man?
Comment section is buzzing. Shout out, we got Pooh in here, Squeeze, Kyrie, Ron.
Okay.
We bouncing in and out the live.
What up, everybody?
Shout out to everybody watching on IG. But yeah, man, we got people bouncing in and out the live, bro.
So what y'all been talking about?
Well, I've been keeping it football so far. We got a couple NBA questions, but right here, Kyrie had asked Travis Kelce. Oh, he referenced the statement made by Travis Kelce on the Chiefs' playoff chances. Tough reality to be in. What's your thoughts on his comments?
Tough reality to be in. I guess it's because it's not a reality that he's probably been in, and I don't know how long. When was the last time the Chiefs were in this spot?
I mean,
on the outside looking in.
It's probably been 9 years because even the 2 years prior to Mahomes took over, Alex Smith had them as a playoff team.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
this is their reality because of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, the decline is steady.
Right.
We're starting to see that.
His decline has been kind of aligned with the decline of the team. Right. Mm-hmm. Mahomes, you look at the raw numbers of Mahomes. Mahomes is still performing at an elite level. Mahomes is still playing like a Pro Bowl top-notch quarterback would play. I believe going into Sunday's game, he was sitting at something like 22 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions on the year. So he's still playing at a high level.
Yeah.
But 2 of the most, I think, indicative plays of the Chiefs' season this year are the Kelce bobble at the goal line against the Eagles when they're going to tie the game, and the Kelce bobble against the Texans when they're down 7 in the fourth quarter. So the reality is Travis Kelce's decline and his lack of production has led to where they're at right now.
And you notice, well, if you watch Travis Kelce, the speed, of course, he has lost a step as far as speed goes. And then when you look at the way he catches the football, he lets the ball get to his body now. Where before, well, with most of the great pass catching tight ends, they attack the football with their hands. And I'm seeing him cradle the ball a lot more and let the ball get to his body a lot more, which is even another sign that he's starting to slow down, where he's not being the aggressive go-getter tight end that we're used to seeing. I'm not mad at any of it as a Chargers fan. You know, I'm here for the decline, but that's when you look at their offense, they got Rice back, Worthy's out there, Hollywood's out there, Pacheco's out there. I mean, really, everything else is in place. What's that one thing that you don't have that you used to be able to rely on? And that is that steady security blanket for Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Yep. Now that that's gone, and now that, you know, I'm not going to say the league is caught up with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but now that the league is at least no longer intimidated by them. You're seeing teams approach the Chiefs in a whole different way, and I think that's another thing. That's something. That's the reality that Travis Kelce is more in than being in this position record wise. Teams used to fear y'all, and now when y'all come into people's buildings, everybody's like, okay, let's knock these motherfuckers off this week because y'all are vulnerable. Everybody sees blood in the water, so here come them sharks.
So there's a couple points there. One, as you mentioned, right? The way I was taught growing up playing football, guys who rely on catching the ball with their bodies, they scared to get hit. Because as a receiver, you're taught coming across the middle, you got to anticipate. But like you said, you attack the football. You go and attack the football. You don't let it get to you because that's what allows defenders to dislodge it from your arms and hit you and knock the ball loose. But when you're a body catcher, that's because you're already bracing yourself for the hit. So that's a major adjustment in itself, as you mentioned. Travis Kelce used to be a tight end that delivered the punishment, that was running around and being physical with guys. Now it's almost the opposite. He knows he can't do that anymore. So now he's becoming more of a body catcher who's anticipating the hits, not looking for run after catches, not looking to really punish smaller defenders in the secondary. The second part of it, like you said, the league has caught up to the Chiefs, and that happens with any team, right? You're successful long enough, there's enough film, teams will find out a way to play you. I think the difference now is that before, you always had Kelce as a security blanket as your third down guy. No matter what, Kelce could get open and you could make a play. Now you don't have that, so it makes it easier to scheme for these other guys. And it's one of the things I talked about on Monday. The pieces you talked about are good, but none of those guys are a true number one receiver, right? Hollywood Brown, speed guy. Worthy, good receiver. Rashee Rice, good receiver. But which one of those guys is a one-on-one guy that like if I need a third down catch, they can get open and make the play? Because Rashee Rice dropped 2 passes in their game as well on Sunday night. So This is a team, like I said, that before they had that ultimate, they had the big joker. It was Travis Kelce. When things got iffy, we knew Travis Kelce could get open, he could win his matchup, and that can extend drives for us. Now they don't have that anymore. So now Mahomes is running around hoping somebody gets open, and it's not happening. And the crazy part is this decline, even though we're going to highlight it as the regular season, this decline really started in the Super Bowl because we saw the way that the Eagles played them, and the Eagles dismantled them very early in that game. And we should have known then that the writing was on the wall. This team is probably starting a decline, and they're going to be a different team, not only this season, but I think this is even going to carry over the next season.
Hopefully.
I think it does.
I can say. But see, and with all that being said, I like the Chiefs this weekend. I do. With all that being said,
I'm not gonna lie. I do too. And you know why I like the Chiefs this weekend? Because I haven't seen who's assigned to the game. That's going to be a very ticky-tack game by the refs.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be super ticky-tack game by the refs. I have no doubt in my mind that the refs are gonna keep that game close. They're not going to allow that game to get out of hand either direction. So I expect. Don't be surprised if there's a lot of pass interference calls early on the Chargers.
Oh yeah, I'm taking. Well, we just saw what happened to the Chiefs last week.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that question a little bit too.
They gotta. I mean, they gotta get they gotta win this week.
Yeah, they do.
Or now you can start shoveling the dirt on their grave. If they lose
this week, it's officially over. Right now, they're on life support. They cannot afford to lose another game.
Yeah, and in KC.
They lose this week. If they lose this week, remember they have no tiebreakers. They lost to the Texans. They've already lost to the Chargers. Right, the Broncos look like they're going to win the division. They don't have the tiebreaker against the Bills. They don't have the tiebreaker against the Jaguars or the Texans. So they don't have any tiebreakers at all. They cannot lose this week. They have to win this week to keep their hopes alive.
Now, that's exactly why I think they're going to win. Does the NFL want, and I don't care, I'm going to say, conspiracy theory, at this point, I don't even think it's conspiracy anymore. But does the NFL want the Chiefs to be out of playoff contention already?
I don't.
I'm gonna say hell no.
All right. So from a business standpoint, yeah, they would love for Mahomes and those guys to still be in it, but I don't think the NFL has as much control over it as we think, because the NFL, yeah, you can assign the officiating crew that you know is going to call it close and give them opportunities. But from what I've seen from the Chiefs the last couple of weeks, I mean, even when the Chiefs have been given opportunities late in these games, they can't take advantage of it. So
Yeah.
the officials may be able to keep them in the game. The real question is, can the Chiefs make enough plays to actually win a game?
Yeah.
Right? We can only keep you in the game but so long. Like the ref can't take the ball out of Mahomes' hand and say, fuck it, here go a touchdown, just go down the field. Like they could just call some calls and say, hey, look, it's a pass interference here, there's a first down. There's an offside here. They can give them that. They can't give them much more than that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else we got? We're about to get to some NBA questions as well. NBA Cup going on in the background. OKC's up 10 early against the Suns. Guys, make sure you are subscribed to The Sanchez Show. We're live every Wednesday night on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And then Monday night, 7 p.m., Real Fans, Real Talk on those same platforms, as I mentioned. Make sure you follow me. You see the social media handle at the bottom there. Shout out to Ron. He wants to know. Nick Sirianni said Jalen Hurts will remain the Eagles starter. He wants to get our thoughts on it. For those that don't know, I didn't know. I had to ask Will. I said, who the fuck is the Eagles backup quarterback? I mentioned this the other day. It's some guy named Tanner McKee. That's the backup quarterback for the Eagles.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, should there be a change, Will?
Nah. Because, all right, for one, when I'm hearing about the Eagles' problems, and I don't watch them that closely this season, but what I'm hearing is everybody, all the guys that's supposed to be smarter than us, saying that the problem with the offense is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts touches the football every play. He's not getting the ball to AJ Brown consistently enough, but now that's not the same. I gotta say it. First of all, who you going to if you bench him? Like you said, Tanner McKee is not the answer, and behind him, I think is Sam Howell. So you ain't got the answer ain't on the roster. You're going to get worse if you take him out the game. You just got to let him get right. Now the one game I did watch real close was Monday night when did he play a great football game? Absolutely not. But a couple of those picks were batted balls. I mean, not batted balls, but were tipped. He had AJ Brown on a beautiful ball at the end of the fourth. Wasn't it in overtime or at the end of the fourth quarter in the end zone over there on the left side?
That was at the end of the fourth quarter when they settled on a field goal.
That ball was beautiful. That he dropped it right in, but the defender was able to get his arm in to break that up at the last second.
Yeah, the corner end zone. Yep.
Yeah, that was a beautiful pass. Now, if AJ holds on to that ball, then this discussion is different, Yep. So it's easy to look at the box score and say Jalen Hurts is horrible, but I watched every snap of that game, and some of those passes were bad, but a couple of them were just bad luck also. So is he bench him for who? Would be my question, Ron. You got to do the Super Bowl MVP. You got to just ride this out at this point, man. And even if you did have somebody behind him, like say you still had like a what's the little the Kenny Pickett. Say you had like a Kenny Pickett behind him. You think the answer is to go to Kenny Pickett when you're trying to make a push towards the postseason? Hell no. You stick with your guy. And so he's having a bad stretch of football games. They lost 3 in a row, but I think he's built up enough leeway to say, well, I can have a bad stretch of games and still he can still right this ship. This football season ain't over, and we've seen him do it before. I'm not on the team bench Hurts. I'm not on that team at all because who you going to? You're still in first place in your division, and you got his pedigree and his resume says let him ride it out and then see what happens. See how the chips fall.
Last time I checked, they don't have a quarterback on their roster who's won a playoff game, right?
Nope.
Sam Howell's never won a playoff game. Tanner McKee's never won a playoff game. So they don't have that. They don't have anybody on their roster who's done anything of significance in the NFL. So when you have a roster like this that's been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, that expectation is to compete for a Super Bowl. There is no way in hell that you are changing your quarterback in December, especially to take out the Super Bowl MVP. It's not happening. You ride this out, as you mentioned, you play it out and you hope that he figures it out and that he gets right. And if he doesn't, you got to go down with the ship. And I'm sorry, this isn't Madden. This isn't some video game. This isn't some Netflix series where the guy who's going to come off the bench is going to be the hero. Because I promise you, for as much as AJ Brown may be upset and some of the guys will be upset, I dare you go in there into the meeting and say, hey, Tanner McKee's starting the next game, and see the reaction you get from guys. Go ahead and see the reaction you're going to get from the guys in that locker room, knowing that they done been to war with Jalen Hurts the last couple of years, been to 2 Super Bowls with Jalen Hurts. Watch that man perform at an all-world level in both those Super Bowls. And you gonna bench him now because he's in a bad stretch of football? If you do that, if you Nick Sirianni, you might as well call the moving truck yourself. Because Philly will fire you at the end of the season. So what you do is you ride it out with Jalen Hurts. You continue to dance with the girl you brought to the dance. You go down with the ship, and you hope things get better. And if they don't, I mean, listen, Jalen Hurts, like you said, has built up enough credit to deserve that opportunity. Let's see what else we got. Real quick, Will, do you like the NBA Cup?
Hell no. You know, I've hated that thing since its inception. Because I'm like 1,000% against it. And maybe it's get off my lawn type talk. But I don't see the need for it. It's just it feels real gimmicky, and like it feels almost like it's not even the NBA. It feels like with the whole process and everything, and it feels almost like if MTV Rock and Jock or something, you could throw in some bullshit in the middle of the season to try to bring casual viewers in or something. But I don't even think it's doing that. I don't think this is bringing in casual viewers. You know what I mean? And then they monetize it for the players. Mm-hmm. Good for them. But I mean, you had to do that for them to give a damn about it. You know what I'm saying? That you had to do that. I just don't really see the need for it. I'm not against change. Okay, let me just say that. But I'm against change that is not for the better. And I don't see where this change improves the NBA at all. I think it kind of waters it down even more. Because who has a tournament in the first third of their season to determine who's playing the best right now? Like I don't get it. No other sport does this, right? No other sport has
no American sport.
Man, get that shit out of here.
There's a soccer format. That's all this is. There's a soccer format.
And why do we need that in the NBA?
So I believe we talked about this last year during the Cup. I think ultimately this is going to get changed in what they do. I don't know. I don't think the NBA really knows what they want to do with the NBA Cup. They're using this to try to generate early season excitement. It's not coincidental that the NBA Cup takes place before Christmas, because most people like you and I will feel that the NBA season doesn't start till Christmas. So this is their way to try to generate some sort of excitement, because honestly, they can't justify starting the season before Halloween the way they did and expect to have the views when everybody's so in tune with the NFL. Now, if you're a diehard basketball fan, you're going to watch. But I don't know if you noticed, Will, on most Monday nights, the NBA may only have 2 or 3 games going. On most Thursday nights, it's a very light schedule. The NBA is almost conceding early on that they know those nights of the week we really can't compete with, unless there's like this Thursday is a bad NFL game. It's Tampa Bay, Atlanta. You'll get people to watch NBA on this Thursday night because it's a bad NFL game. But if it was 2 decent teams or pretty good teams, like we had last week when we had Dallas and Detroit, 90% of sports fans are watching football over basketball. Why? Because the basketball doesn't mean anything. It's too early in the season. It's an 82-game season, so a basketball game in late November, early December isn't going to really mean much right now. And the NBA realizes that, and I think the NBA is just trying to figure out how to keep people interested in their league prior to Christmas Day. So ultimately, I think they're going to make some adjustments and figure out how to make this mean something or make it more exciting. But
but are we? Are we interested in it? Do we give a damn? Do the fans
I
care? Are you
I don't
drawing up interest? I don't think
I don't
so.
think no, but I don't think so because again, what's the incentive? There is no incentive for the fan to be interested in it. These are still regular season games. They go on your record as a
Exactly.
regular season win, right? Yeah, you're trying to get us excited about an NBA Cup. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're a small city that doesn't have much going on in that city, right? Like for Oklahoma City, this probably means something for them. There's no NFL team, there's no other pro sport team. The fact that they have a chance they were the NBA champs and now they could win the NBA Cup, this is something that their fans would be happy about. But if you're in a major market, LA doesn't care about this. New York doesn't care about this. Chicago doesn't care about this. Orlando, none of the Houston or Texas teams really care about it because you have the distraction of other things going on. But if you're a small market team like Oklahoma City Thunder, yeah, this is exciting for you.
But then, with that being said, then you're going to be if you win the NBA Cup, teams going to be like, oh, good for you. So what? You know what I mean? It's almost going to be looked at like the bubble championship. You know what I'm saying? Like how people look at the bubble, like, oh, you won that? Cool. Good for you. But
Listen, I agree. Nobody really cares. But I think the NBA is just trying to figure out a way. This is almost like the prototype.
And one thing that makes it absolutely ridiculous to me is what you mentioned is this is the soccer format. Like international, like soccer is the biggest sport in the world, international, right? The NBA is not struggling internationally. So why do we need to? It's not like you doing this
But keep in mind,
cater to them. Like we good with international.
No, but this isn't about catering to international. This is about catering to the networks who have paid a lot of money for as much NBA content as possible. Remember, think about one of the things we talked about prior to the season. You have all these platforms that are broadcasting NBA games, right? So you got to give them more. It's never going to be enough to say, hey, like right now, the NBA Cup is on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
This is their way of catering to Prime and saying, look, what you're paying for is not only all these regular season games, we're going to give you these exclusive NBA Cup games that if somebody is interested in watching, they have to watch through Prime. So, for example, right, I'm a Knicks fan. Last night, if I wanted to watch the Knicks, the only way I could watch the Knicks yesterday was on Amazon Prime. The short version of it, is it an NBA regular season game? Absolutely. If the Knicks would have lost yesterday, would I have been mad that they got eliminated from the NBA Cup? Hell no. That ain't our goal. Ain't to win the NBA Cup.
Right.
I don't care about a win in early December against who did we play yesterday? The Toronto Raptors. I don't care about that. But the short-sighted look on the long view of it is Prime can say, hey, we had this many eyeballs pay attention on our app who watched Knicks games yesterday. So if you're a New York Knicks fan, like myself, and no matter where you're located in the country, you got to watch the Knicks last night on Prime. That's a win for Prime. It's not a win for NBA fans. The NBA ain't doing things to cater to us per se. It's to cater to these networks that have paid big money to have the NBA. That's all this is. And like I said, they're still working out the kinks. 3 years from now, the NBA Cup might exist in a completely different format. But for right now, they got to create the NBA content for all these platforms that have paid top dollar.
You want to know how to get everybody back to the screens, all these platforms. If y'all really want fans to come back, it ain't got nothing to do with all that. But this is not for the platforms though. This is for the NBA. It's not, the interest is not drummed down because of the product and not because of what the NBA is. It's because of what the NBA has become.
Yeah.
If you want to get eyeballs back, play defense. You want to get eyeballs back? The stars their goals should be to play 82 games every season.
Right.
If you wanna get people back to screens, stop shooting 63s a game. Stop on the 3-on-1 fast break, kicking it out to the corner. Attack the basket. Play basketball. That if you want to get interest back, it's that simple. Just play basketball. Don't stop all this. Run to the corners, dribble, pass maybe twice, take a bad three, rebound it, kick it out, shoot another bad three. I'm watching the game. I did this with a friend of mine. We'll say. I was like, let's watch. I want you to watch NBA quarter, just a quarter. So we watched the quarter of NBA basketball, and I was like, everybody shoots threes. So all they do is shoot threes. They shoot. I was like, all right, now we're gonna go on YouTube. Now let's watch a quarter of. I said, pick any. I said, name a team, name a year between 1995 and 2010. Name it. She said, I want to see Jordan. All right. We played the Bulls. I mean, now we going back, but I went to the last. I went to the game 6 against the Jazz. Completely different. Oh, I said no. What you'll notice is you'll see how many bodies are around that rectangle compared to how many bodies are outside that arc in today's game. He was like, this don't even look like the same sport. Like they aren't everybody.
Analytics, though, the nerds have taken over. Well,
dude, but it's not. It's so bad though. It's so bad.
Listen, I agree with you, and we've talked about this many times. I'm not a fan of. I think too many teams. The nerds are a big issue. The analytics are a big issue. But too many teams, because it's such a copycat league, they saw the way the Warriors were successful, and now every team thinks they can play that way. You out here got teams taking 40 and 50 3-pointers a game, right? To just as a reference point, look back when Boston lost game 1 to the Knicks last year in the playoffs. They didn't lose game 1 because the Knicks were so much better than them. They lost game 1 because they took 19 straight threes in the second half of that game.
That is insane.
19 straight threes.
That's insanity.
So when you look at a game like that and you wonder, hey, how could the Knicks come back from down 20 points? Well, because the Knicks are playing basketball, trying to get to the basket, and you guys are stopping at the 3 and everybody's shooting a 3.
Ugh. Man, it's not when I see a fast break and I don't see, man, do they even run figure eights in basketball practice anymore?
Not
they can't do.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. What is basketball practice?
Yeah, for real.
Because
don't get me. Oh my God, don't.
They don't practice.
That's crazy. Everybody doing their individual thing until it gets to the team, right?
Everybody has a private trainer that they go over all these goofy ass footwork moves. Like, bro, I know you saw it. That Grayson Allen play from the other day.
Oh yeah.
Is the most. I don't know what was more disgusting, the move or the fact that people in the comment section was trying to defend it.
That walk.
And then this what made it worse. I saw a clip where Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye were going back and forth. Richard Jefferson was trying to defend it, saying, well, you're allowed. This is Richard Jefferson.
I know.
Played in the league. He said, you're allowed 2 steps as the gather.
Gather. Yeah, what the hell is a gather?
No. But then this way he took it another step further. He said, you're allowed 2 steps on the gather and then 2 steps after that because if you decide to pivot. So you're allowed 4 steps without dribbling the basketball? No.
And it's crazy. You can go back and look at games where dudes was getting called for travels. There was barely a third step.
Right.
Back in the day.
A hop step back in the day was a travel.
Absolutely, man.
If you got in the lane and did a hop step, that was a travel. Now, dudes is taking 4 and 5 steps without putting the ball on the ground.
Right. And changing the pivot foot. They leave their pivot and take another step, and that's supposed to be the what?
And they're reestablishing a new pivot now.
That's crazy.
And then you wonder why nobody could defend anybody. I mean, shit, if you could fucking walk 4 or 5 steps with the ball, who's gonna be able to defend you?
Man, what would my guys from the back in the day be doing with these rules? God. Woo.
Yeah.
MJ needed 2 dribbles and you was cooked.
Let's move on. Listen, I got another topic here that I know is going to invoke a strong opinion from you. Before I post the question, though, just remind everybody, make sure you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show. We are live every Wednesday night. Will Gordon and myself, Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. over on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And then on Monday night, 7 p.m., Real Fans, Real Talk. Shout out my brother Trip Young. We go live on Monday nights to recap the week in sports. This question here, I have a strong opinion about it, so I damn sure know you got a strong opinion about it. But before I say that, I don't know if you were aware of this, though. Rich Paul says that the Lakers are contenders. First of all, it's weird him and Max Kellerman have a podcast together. Why is an agent talking about this publicly? Now, if you did not know, Will.
I didn't know that.
All right. I'm a fan of Bill Simmons. I've been a fan of Bill Simmons for a very long time. To me, I think Bill Simmons is the architect of the way current sports media is kind of digested. He was one of the first dudes I ever seen do the real blog thing, and he did it at a high level with ESPN. He was the first dude I knew that was doing a podcast thing. Him and Joe Rogan, I think, is actually like the first two people I have really heard of doing the podcast space. But I listen to Bill Simmons every week. He was actually trying to get Max Kellerman on his platform. He has a platform called The Ringer. He was trying to bring Max Kellerman in. And then he said Max had explained to him, well, me and Rich Paul have been working on this idea. We're going to do a podcast. It's something that Max Kellerman claims have been in the works for like the last year. But I think they had to work out the details. Also, Max Kellerman kind of was still under contract with ESPN. So he had to kind of wait for that contract. Even though he hadn't been on the platform, he was still getting paid by ESPN. So he had to wait for that to run out. But let's start with the second part. Shout out to Poole as well for the question.
Hey,
second part of this. Rich Paul, obviously BFFs with LeBron, Clutch Sports, has a podcast with Max Kellerman where he is talking about sports. Do you find this weird, Will?
Man, I think everything at Clutch Sports is weird, man. This does not surprise me. This is par for the course for them, man. So and it's weird to me that how long have they been doing this podcast together?
This was their first episode that just came out.
When?
This week, actually. I want to say Monday or Tuesday they dropped because the clips just started coming out yesterday.
So can I connect the dots on Max Kellerman's interview about life after First Take and his back and forth and how he didn't get along with Stephen A. He says Stephen A. was the one person that he ever worked with that he felt like he didn't have any kind of professional relationship with.
So hold on. I listened to that whole interview. The clip that was put out doesn't give all of the context. So when he said that about Stephen A., he didn't jump out and say, oh, me and Stephen A. never got along. He used it as a reference point to say that there were plenty of other people I worked with who we were able to develop a relationship away from work. He used Marcellus Wiley as an example. He used some of the other guys he worked with at ESPN. But he said when it came to Stephen A. always kind of kept the distance of like, we only on camera together. Where he said him and Stephen A., their only interactions would either be in pre-show meetings or anything pertaining to the show. It was never an opportunity to build on a relationship with Stephen A. And I don't think
I saw that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
well, and to your other point, the reason he did that, that was the Bill Simmons podcast he was on. That was to promote this podcast that him and Rich were about to launch.
Sure. But that's the shit I don't like because LeBron and them at Clutch don't rock with Stephen A. Right? Can we all agree with that?
You went out there for a second. Repeat the last part you said there.
Clutch don't rock with Stephen A. at all.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
So it's just the timing of the conversation. Max Kellerman been away from First Take for a long time, and I ain't heard that conversation until the week that you coming out with a podcast with Rich Paul.
To be fair, Stephen A. has spoken about Max several times, and Max has never responded.
But why now? But why you talking about Stephen A. now?
Because the question.
I'm just saying. It feels real scripted to me. What like everything with Clutch is. Everything with Clutch is scripted. And this is just another. You just throw this in the bucket with everything else that's been scripted about it.
I agree with you about Clutch. We've talked about this with Clutch. Everything is strategic. Everything is calculated. In terms of Max, I will say this. Like I said, I listened to the whole interview. He went up there to talk about a lot of different things. Now, the clip obviously that's going to get the most attention is him talking about Stephen A. If we're going to be honest, we're going to be fair. Stephen A. has been on the Joe Budden podcast. He's been on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. He's
been all over.
Right. I'm just highlighting like the high profile ones, the Pivot, all these shows. He talked about Max, and Max never said one word. Max never went on social media. Max never went on this campaign to trash him. And even in this interview, if you listen to it, Max did not trash Stephen A. Smith. He spoke from his perspective and said, I thought there was two things that Max said that were really telling about the situation at ESPN. One, it's Stephen A's show, and you're expected to fit in within Stephen A's show. Understandable, right? Stephen A's the star of the show.
Right.
But the second aspect, like he said, was that Stephen A, there was never a willingness for Stephen A to kind of build that relationship with the Coles. It was almost like, you sit across from me, take the direction that they're giving you, and that's it. And so, like he said, the toughest part of the job, right? I never had thought about this, but he's right. The toughest part of the job is when you're sitting across from Stephen A, you're expected to be the guy who gives these outlandish shock value takes. Because Stephen A never takes that stance. Stephen A is never going to say something so left field that you're going to be like, what the hell is Stephen A? It's always, Stephen A is always reacting to what the other person says. So Max's job, like he said, when we would go into the pre-show meetings, I had to come up with basically 5 wild takes every show. Every show it was expected that I got to say something so outlandish that I can get a reaction out of Stephen A. And on the flip side, Stephen A is not willing to help me. Like, let's work together to do this. It's almost like you come up with the ideas. You got to come up with something so crazy to say that it's going to make me respond. And then we're going to cut up the clips to make me look like I'm the everyday man who's shooting down your tape. So when he uses that reference of Muhammad Kellerman, he's saying basically, I'm willing to debate you on any topic. We could debate any topic all day, every day. But if you just want me to give you outlandish takes, that's not who I am. And like I said, he used Skip Bayless as an example. He said Skip Bayless is the only guy in this industry who comes up with crazy takes every day he's on a show. Skip Bayless is the only dude. There's no other guy who debates, who says the things that Skip Bayless says. Because Skip has that market corner. So Stephen A was looking for that, and Max couldn't continue to be that. I don't think he trashed Stephen A, though. I thought Stephen A was a little sensitive in his response.
I don't know. I'm gonna add anything. I did not know they had a podcast together. I just don't rock with Clutch at all. Like I feel like Clutch is as bad for the NBA as anything else. Like when we talk about decline in the NBA, I think Clutch is at the forefront of that.
Shout out, Pooh said she wrote that statement and said that Rich Paul says the Lakers aren't contenders. So let's get the Rich Paul side of this, right? First of all, it's going to be intriguing to see how this plays out and how long this plays out, because Rich Paul is privy to information that most people aren't. And as an agent, you could kind of spin narratives however you want in favor of your player or in favor of a player you're trying to get traded. We've seen them do that behind the scenes. So now that you have a platform, what's stopping you from doing the same thing on your platform? You could easily bash organizations and spin narratives so that your player looks like, you know, the good guy in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this is going to last long, to be honest. Also, to me, this gives off the impression of kind of an extension of what the shop is already. Like, do you really think Rich Paul and Max Kellerman are going to have anybody up there who will ever say anything anti-LeBron?
Hell no.
Right. So how is this any different than the shop? Everybody who went on the shop, everybody was buddy-buddy. Everybody's laughing. There's never any drama or conflicting views. Everybody that was on the shop all thought the same way, spoke the same way, viewed life the same way.
I really don't like that show. Why? Because it's like everybody just there to. It's a whole lot of pause about to come out right there.
No, but
everybody like, there just to suck each other. It's a whole lot of
what did I just say?
Over there, man. A whole bunch of that.
They're all there to appease each other, and everybody's so great. And Look at the group of people we have sitting here today.
And it'd be
That's all it is.
weird groups of people too. It's like they just like y'all. It's like what the? Why
Right.
is she here with him? Why is
So
he here? Is she, and he's here? Like it's like the conversation never even makes sense until they start talking about money. It's like
right.
y'all don't even
So it's
hate
gonna
it.
be this is gonna be an extension of that. Will this is gonna be the same thing? This is not gonna last. I think Max Kellerman is really good in the sports space. I think Max Kellerman is one of the few guys who can give really good takes in multiple sports, right? Like I think Stephen A is good when it comes to basketball. He's okay when it comes to football. Outside of that, Stephen A can't talk boxing. Stephen A can't talk baseball. Max
Mm-hmm.
Kellerman can. Max Kellerman is better in those areas than Stephen A Smith. So
Stephen A
I
can't really talk anything except NBA.
pretty much that's what I'm saying. NBA is his strength, a little bit of football, but
I don't
outside of
even. I'm
that,
not even with him there.
I mean, he doesn't, I think, give good takes or opinions or insight on
And
things.
that's the thing. And I've said it on this show many, many, many times. Stephen A should not be anybody's barometer for sports knowledge. He's for entertainment. Like as an entertainer, he does his jobs. But I'm not going. I'm not turning Stephen A. Smith on for any kind of poignant thought about anything if it's not NBA basketball. Because I know he does know he has relationships still with a lot of people inside the league where he does get information that I like to be privy to. Now, as
But
far as his
again,
opinion on sports and any other sport, Stephen A is he's just a character to me. Now, NBA wise, I'm gonna
that's what
listen to him
sells.
a little
That's
bit,
what
but
sells
everything
for
else,
ESPN.
no, I know. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying for people to go to Stephen A as a source for sports knowledge, that's on y'all. First, you know what I'm saying? That's not who Stephen A is. Stephen A is an entertainer, but he does know NBA. I'm gonna give him that. But everything
Yeah,
else, I'm good on that. Everything else he says about any other sport, I don't need to hear.
no, that's a fact. Like I said, I don't think that podcast is going to last long. Um, I think ultimately Rich Paul will step aside and Max Kellerman will get a new host. I think on the surface, it's appealing to people because people are going to want to hear Rich Paul's perspective on certain things, and they're going to want to know if he's willing to dish the dirt on certain things. But it's going to become a conflict of interest because again, he's privy to too much information. He knows where you and I might be talking basketball and might be talking about what we think is going to happen. He knows what's going on behind the scenes. So too many times he can manipulate the conversation.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's going to last.
And there's another side to that coin. Like when I say Stephen A, all I want to hear is NBA. Max Kellerman, all I want to hear is boxing. I don't want to hear nothing about else from you. I've heard your opinions and your thoughts and views on other sports. I don't need that from you.
I think Max
Boxing,
is all right. I think, like I said, I think Max is pretty good.
boxing. It's not me. It's not more people I want to listen to about
Oh
boxing
yeah. No,
than
that's his. Of
Max.
course, that's
But
that's
I don't
his
need. I
area of
don't want to hear about
expertise.
football. I don't need to hear about NBA from you. Boxing, yeah, I'm cool. But that's the same thing with Steve. See, I don't pick favorites or nothing. It's the same way. Stephen A. I want to hear you talk hoops. I don't want to hear you talking nothing else. Max Kellerman. I want to hear you talk boxing. I don't want to hear you talking nothing else. If you want somebody that can talk everything, you tune in every Wednesday at 7:30. Here. That's where you go if you want to hear opinions that matter about every sport.
Right.
But if we want to hear specialized stuff, we'll find y'all when y'all. But for everything else, you're supposed to be here at 7:30 if you want to get the real on everything else.
That's a fact.
On Mondays at when y'all come on Monday.
7. Mondays at 7.
Mondays at
Wednesdays
7.
at
Here
7:30. Y'all
Wednesday at
already know.
7:30.
Lock in. Listen. Shout out to Squeeze. He said, "Will OKC break the Warriors 73 wins? Should they strive to do it?"
Yes and yes.
I agree. I think unless health becomes an issue, you try to do it. Now, if they get into April and they're dealing with some injuries, maybe you take your foot off the gas because winning a championship is far more important than winning 73 games. But if you're fully healthy and you get to that 65 win range and you got a chance, I think you go for it.
And I don't think health is going to be an issue with them going forward. And they did get the one kid back that was out for a minute. But these guys are young.
Super young.
They young. These. I mean, a lot of them ain't even grown into their whole. Well, Pause. But a lot of them ain't even grown in their whole NBA bodies yet.
Yeah,
You
you
know what
gotta
I'm
watch how
saying?
you say
They
that. That Diddy
yeah,
doc
that's what I
just
was
came
like,
out.
boy,
That
I
Diddy
had to
doc
catch
just came
myself.
out. You
I was
can't.
like, whoa. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like a lot, they still, man, wet behind the ears, man. Breath smelling like Similac.
Hey,
They,
Pooh
they,
wants
they, they should get there.
Pooh wants to know, since we talking NBA, he said, where's KD in the MVP race with the Rockets fourth in the West? Well, I think the most obvious 1 and 2 has got to be Shea and Joker, whichever way you want to go with that.
Yeah.
Shea and Joker. I would have to say KD's top 5 because
Mm-hmm.
after Shea and Joker, I think the only other 2 guys I could really think of that should be in the conversation. I think
Okay.
Luka should be in the convo and Cade. Luka and Cade should be in the convo.
Yeah, I'm good with that as a 5.
Yeah, I think that's a
Rounded out
range.
with KD.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Let me see what else. Hold on. We got a. This is a good one from Poole. Let me see if we got any other basketball stuff though, real quick. We got to get to the
How your
picks in a
pops
little bit
doing,
too.
Pooh? Shout out to your pops.
Poole heard what I said on Monday, so she wanted to get our thoughts on this. She said, "Eric, I'm bringing this up because you put it out there. So whose story is worse, Matt Barnes or Manti Te'o? It's amazing people get fooled like that, but it starts from the late night chats. It gets addicted." I said on Monday, I said, Matt Barnes, this is worse than Manti Te'o. Manti Te'o had a made-up girlfriend that ended up being a dude who was texting him and sending him pictures of his cousin. Matt Barnes, if this is true, was sending money to an AI girl who never existed.
He dispelled that though.
He claims that it was not an AI person, that it's a real person. I still think
the joint I saw was that it was. You ain't see the joint when Matt addressed it today or yesterday.
He's sitting in front of his crib. He said the story. The clip I saw that was either yesterday or the day before, where he was saying that people were making up this narrative because he got mad at who was it? It was Gilbert Arenas was clowning him for it.
Yeah, he said Gil brought it up,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked to Gil. And was like, oh, I ain't know. He said Gil was just like, oh, somebody brought it up to me. I ain't even know what it was about. He said, but since you gave it life, now people was running with it.
Yeah.
So he said what he was saying though was that's false completely.
So him sending the money is not false. That's been confirmed.
Oh.
He said that himself when the story first broke, and this is why I said I fuck with Matt Barnes. I like Matt Barnes. I like all the smoke. I like what he's doing in the media space. But Matt Barnes was not keeping it a buck. Matt Barnes claims that him and this woman started chatting through the DMs. They never met up. This is his words. They never met up. She had only sent them pictures. And then when he tried to cut it off, because at the time, I believe it was his fiance was pregnant and she was a high-risk pregnancy. He didn't want no drama, no bullshit to come out. So he tried to tell Shorty, yo, we got to chill. That Shorty started extorting him. And because Shorty was extorting him and he didn't want the news to come out because his fiance was pregnant, that he started paying her. Now, when all the details came out and he kind of told himself, because he showed the summary of the text messages, he had sent this woman over 13 wire transfers. So he paid her over 13 different times, kept sending her money. That part is true. The part that just came out over the last week is they saying that this wasn't even a real woman. This was an AI-generated Instagram model that they don't know who was in control of the other side of that conversation.
So what is it? So it was a woman?
That's the part we don't know.
What's Matt saying? It was a woman?
Matt is claiming that it was not AI, that it was a real woman, and that I guess like I said, it was through text. Maybe they had conversations. I don't know, because he's gone back and forth as to how much he has interacted with this person. Now, my thing is, if you never met up with Shorty and all y'all did was talk through the chat, why would you send her money 13 different times? You would have been.
Yeah.
Now, the crazy part too is, I don't know if you know this part of the story, when his ex, and like I said, I want to say ex-fiance because I think they were engaged at the time. When she left him, she had exposed that he was talking to he was cheating on her with 10 different women.
Matt was?
Yeah.
I believe it.
So, I ain't mad at Matt. That's the life you live.
Right.
But don't try to paint yourself as like the victim, like, oh, I never met up with Shorty, but you was meeting up with them 10 other Shorties because your girl found out about it. So you probably was meeting up with Shorty. You know what I'm saying? And if you was living that careless and that reckless when you messing around with all these different women, why the hell would you let this one woman extort you? Why would you send her payments over 13 different occasions? That's the part that don't make sense. But in regards to Pooh's question, Matt Barnes' situation is worse because Matt Tateo wasn't sending no money. Matt Barnes was sending money to a woman he claims he never met before, and now they trying to say is an AI model.
Yeah, I was just trying to look to see if I can find that clip from when he put out, just trying to dispel everything.
Yeah,
I thought he was trying to say that shit was bogus, like the whole story was, because he was talking about he was out of town, and he came back, found out people saying he was tricking off with an AI model.
yeah, he was trying to say that it wasn't AI, that was a narrative people created, but I don't.
See, I thought he was saying it ain't happening at all.
Nah, it happened because I remember the first when the first videos came out, and I can send you that because he put up the text thread between him and the person, and he was saying Shorty was starting to stalk him. But the reason I don't think it was the reason I don't know if it was an AI model, and I think it's somebody who he has some sort of interaction with. I'm gonna send you the original thread. In the text thread, she's mentioning a friend of theirs. She's mentioning somebody that a mutual friend that she had met up with. So obviously, it's got to be a real person that's close enough to you that's hanging out with somebody that you know.
Yeah.
Because it can't be just for him to say, oh, it's just some random girl in the DM. There's no way it's some random girl in the DM, but she knows your friend.
Hmm.
Come on, bro.
Hmm.
Come on,
That
Matt.
math ain't mathing.
Come on, Matt. What else we got? All right, we're gonna get to the picks in a minute. But obviously, we got to give you the parlay. Will, do you want to get into the Diddy documentary?
I ain't watched this, so nah.
All right.
I probably won't watch it.
That's the last questions we got up here. So I'm
I
gonna
feel a
get.
certain kind of way about that
Let's get into it
doc.
because I do too.
And like, how many more docs do we need, man? Like, we all know all the grimy shit. It's been like 5 docs already. We seen the trial. He locked up, and now this, and it's just I got Diddy fatigue, man. Pause, because it's 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 a, it's a, it's enough, man. I heard enough. I've heard enough, bro. Like, and I don't need this. Ain't none of this. If is anything that's new,
Absolutely not.
that's the thing. Is like I don't need it.
But hold on.
Like,
Let me say this though, Will, right? Because you and I are of an age where we know that era very well. Obviously, we were aware of what was going on during that time. We heard the stuff that was being said at that time. This is my issue with the documentary. 50 Cent is manipulating the narrative. And 50 Cent is catering towards a group of people who either weren't old enough to know what was going on at that time or were too disconnected and they don't remember what was going on at that time. As I sat and watched the documentary, I said several times that he is merging 2 different timelines because he would tell a piece of information and try to tie it to Diddy without giving a proper context as to what happened leading up to that. Prime example, the shooting at Quad Studios of Tupac. This story has been told over 100 times.
mm-hmm.
Cats on the West Coast have talked about it. Cats on the East Coast have talked about it. Cats that were connected to the streets that knew about it have talked about it. As recently as like 2022, Funkmaster Flex was on the Instagram live talking about it. People that were with Pac have talked about this. For those that don't know, Tupac had been staying in New York for almost a year as they were filming Above the Rim. Okay? Tupac catches the rape case. For those that don't know the backstory, you can look it up. I can't remember Shorty's name, but she did do a Vlad TV interview where she detailed the whole case. Her and Pac were messing around. What happened?
I'm trying to think of that girl's name. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't think of her name, but you can find it on YouTube. She did a Vlad TV interview a couple years ago where she talked about it. She acknowledged that her and Pac had a relationship. She acknowledged that they had been messing around for a little bit. And when he officially came back to New York to film the movie, they would see each other multiple times a week. She acknowledged that. She acknowledged whenever, he would wrap up filming, he would let her know the hotel. She would come through and hang out. On this particular night in question, she details exactly what happened and what Tupac let happen to her in that room. All right. For those of y'all that don't want to believe the story, you ain't got to believe the story. But what is fact is that this woman never sued Tupac. She never tried to get any type of financial compensation. She went to the cops immediately the next day. Her story has stayed consistent. And she never sued Tupac. She never sued his estate. And she says in the interview, I never wanted a dime because she viewed Tupac as somebody that she cared about.
It was like Tiana Jackson.
Something like that. So, like I said, whether you believe the story or not, I highly recommend y'all go listen to her speak on the subject, because like I said, she didn't do a bunch of interviews. She didn't sue for money. She didn't want nothing from Tupac. She just wanted justice for what his friends did to her.
Google this shit, man.
Now, fast forward, they go to trial. Tupac's co-defendant is a highly respected street dude by the name of Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack talks about this in a separate, I believe, in the Hip Hop Wars documentary, where he says when they was going to trial, he told Tupac, don't allow your lawyer to separate our case. Keep our case together. Because if we as co-defendants, if our stories match up, we can prove the holes in her case and we can get acquitted. Pac didn't believe him. Pac took the advice of his lawyer. They separated the co-defendants. So the other co-defendants had one lawyer. They beat the case. That's why Tupac is the only one that's found guilty and liable for what happened that night in the room.
Ayanna Jackson.
Tupac, yep. Tupac starts dissing Haitian Jack. Right? Haitian Jack and other dudes, Jimmy Hinchman is another guy, and Gene Deal talks about this in a recent interview with Art of Dialogue, where they had already started putting the word out, yo, we're going to embarrass Tupac for trying to shit on homie's name, right? They went to Quad to embarrass him and rob him. Tupac shoots himself in the groin. When Tupac is made to lay on the ground and they start robbing his mans, Tupac tries to grab the gun from his waist and shoots himself in the groin. When he shoots himself, the other dudes start letting off shots. That's how Tupac gets a great shot in the head and gets shot in the hand. So in the documentary, for those of y'all that watched it, when they say, oh, it was a setup, they didn't even try to rob Tupac. They did go to rob Tupac. But the moment the gun started getting let off, they couldn't rob him. You got to get up out the spot. They're literally shooting in the lobby of a building. So you got to get out the spot now. That's why they never took his chain or none of that. Tupac knew all along who did it, but Tupac put the blame on Big and Puff because they were in the studio that night and made it seem like, well, since y'all big New York cats, y'all supposed to protect me. Y'all supposed to put the word out on the dudes who did it. But Pac knew all along who was responsible for it. And if y'all go back, I'm telling you, this is from like 3 years ago. Funkmaster Flex was on an IG Live talking about it. There's most people that know what happened. But in the documentary, they make it seem like Puff set it up. Oh, Puff didn't like Tupac, so he had him shot at Quad Studios. Now, how would Puff know what time Pac was even supposed to be at the studio? And Little C's has already come out and said that none of them knew that Pac was going to be there that night, because when they saw him, they was out there smoking and they was all shocked. Oh shit, Pac, come upstairs.
Yeah, he said that on the Joe and Jada.
Right. But the narrative was that. So that's one of the many narratives. There's a lot of stuff in the documentary that I think, like I said, 50 Cent paints this picture of Puff. The freak off, so that we know that. Like you said, there's no new information. So now we're trying to create this narrative of like, well, Puff was so slimy, he made Biggie pay for his own funeral. Biggie's estate has already come out. The lawyers from his estate and said that's a complete lie. They've said they never paid Biggie. Biggie's money was not used to pay for the funeral. Puffy paid for the funeral. So there's a lot of stuff in the doc that I don't like. There's a lot of narratives that are spun. What happened in LA. I've had the opportunity to speak to Gene several times. It's well documented. It's up on YouTube. The Keefe D narrative, if you go on my IG page, is actually the first video on my IG page, because Gene and I spoke about this 3 years ago on Zoom, where I asked him, because that was shortly after Keefe D, the quote unquote confession that he makes about what happened that night in Vegas became an unsealed document, and Keefe D got locked up. Gene and I spoke. It's the first video on my IG. The profile picture is Keefe D on the profile picture. And I asked him directly about the connection to the Southside Crips and Puff. And Gene said we were not affiliated with Crips. Zip Martin, who was from Harlem, was doing a lot of business out there in Cali. So when they used to go out to Cali, Zip used to plug them in with the Southside Crips as their protection out there. For people that don't know, for people that didn't grow up in that environment, the gang shit in Cali is completely different than anywhere else in the world. If you go out there, you affiliated with one side or the other. There is no such thing as, I'm just neutral out here. In California, there's no such thing as that. Why do you think so many rappers go out there and get shot and killed out there? You got to be affiliated with somebody so that you have that proper protection out in the street so nothing happens to you. And I asked him, is there any truth that Puff paid Keefe? He said, I'm going to tell you just like this. I don't think Puff ever paid Keefe. And if he owed Keefe D $1 million, you're talking about one of the most top ranking guys within the Crip organization. A guy who just admitted on himself, they killed Tupac. He said, we hung out with Keefe D multiple times after Pac died. He never once questioned Puff about no money. So where's this $1 million that Puff owe you? So you're telling me one of the most respected dudes in the street, you owe him $1 million and you keep coming out to California and hanging out with him and he don't press you about the money? He don't extort you? He don't rob you? So the story doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
Nope.
And there was one more question about Gene, and then we're going to move on. Kyrie said, he was talking about Ron. Oh, hold on. Have y'all seen, this was Ron's question. Have y'all seen the doc? And I just watched Gene's new interview. That's Art of Dialogue, the one I referenced. Let me ask you both, do you think Gene ever lied about anything? He talks about, I know that's your boy. I do believe Gene there was an interview, and I told you about this, Will. I spoke about it off air. There was an interview where Gene kind of told on himself on something. And I think Gene, I don't want to say he lied, but I think Gene has withheld information on certain things. I'll put it that way.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Because I told you off air, like I said, I'm not going to highlight the interview it was because y'all got to find it for yourselves. But
I remember that.
There was a situation where
I
I
had
felt
questions.
like, yeah. And like I said, we could talk about that off air, but there was a situation where Gene, I felt like kind of told on himself and implicated himself in something that otherwise he's made seem like he knew nothing about. One of the things that the doc did talk about that Gene has told us off air, and I'm going to say it because Gene also talked about it. Gene said himself he never saw Puff physically put his hands on Kim Porter, but he does know of instances where they was in a room and you could hear there was an argument and some things getting thrown around. But he said, he's like, I never saw him do it, but do I think he put his hands on it? Yes. And that's something else that Gene has recently spoke about as well. So there's that, man. Let's get to the parlay. Let's get to
also,
the picks.
People, real quick.
Go ahead.
There's a documentary on Max right now called Spacey Exposed.
Kevin Spacey, his wild ass.
There's people all over Hollywood that's grimy and dirty. And all we can talk about is this Diddy joint, even though it's been 1,000 documentaries about it. The trial was public and all that. Go check out that Kevin Spacey doc too. I mean, it ain't just messy on this side of the table. It's messy over there too. But I posted the other day, I said Kevin Spacey should be the biggest 50 Cent fan walking the planet right now, because nobody's talking about the Kevin Spacey, how he was fucking all them dudes, all them young dudes in Hollywood. But that's not it. That ain't spicy enough, I guess. For it's on right now, and you know how HBO do it. They're doing like a whole season. They've only released like, I think it's 2 or 3 episodes deep right now. But it's up. If you get Diddy fatigue, that might need to be the title of the episode.
And I want to say this too. It's crazy. We've talked about, when you and I have done our hip hop conversation, we talked about 50. We talked about 50 recently in that whole situation with Ja Rule. I will say this. I've been a fan of 50, but this situation, I don't like how 50 is going about this situation. And I said this to Trip the other day. You dig up other people's dirt, somebody going to turn around and dig your shit up.
Absolutely.
And I think 50 playing with a little bit of fire. Because again, for people that don't know, you might be shocked when you hear about it. 50 has been accused of domestic violence by multiple girlfriends. Mm-hmm. That is not breaking news. That's public information. That's out there. You go on Marlon Wayne's page because him
I
and
was about
Marlon
to
Wayne's
say
been
that's
having,
been Marlon's position.
yeah, him and Marlon been going back and forth lately,
Marlon,
and Ja
like,
Rule
bro,
posted about that as well.
yeah,
And when you go back to '08, when Ross and 50 started beefing, the reason they started beefing wasn't just because of a diss record. People think, oh, Ross took the shot at him. In the diss record, Ross referenced that 50 baby mom alleged him of burning down her house.
mm-hmm.
So there's been allegations against 50 as well.
Yep.
And you can't play this crusader when it's fitting of you, like, oh, I'm a slander Puff, but I'm not going to talk
50,
about right. But I don't want you to talk about my dirt. Because if you're gonna tell everything.
master manipulator.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I said, I'm a fan of 50, but I feel like this situation was big time manipulation of using a platform like Netflix, because none of this had anything to do with the victims. None of this had anything to do
Nope.
with like, oh, Puff is so wrong and we need to rid him of the industry. This was
Nope.
to humiliate Puff and just heighten 50 Cent's platform. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah. That's why I won't watch it. I already know all the info. I don't need to watch it.
Yeah. Let's get to the parlay. Before we do, as always, guys, make sure you are locked in with us every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Facebook, Instagram, Jefferson Jungle on IG. I see you. Yeah, I just got to Ron's post on Gene. But yeah, we're live every Wednesday. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then Monday night, 7 p.m. Real Fans, Real Talk. My brother Tribune. Will, we need a winner. We're getting late in the season, man.
I know, man. I've been on. It's kind of been icy right now. It ain't been looking good lately.
It's cold as a pimp's heart out here, man. We
man.
ain't been getting close to nothing, man. Let's get a winner this week. What do you got for me?
Man, I was looking at it, and it's a couple things I like this week, and I usually like to go plus money, but there ain't too much plus money on the table for me this week because we need to get back on these rails, man. So I'm thinking, I got four, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep it to three. Tell me which three you like the best. So I got at minus 105. I got Josh Allen anytime touchdown against the Patriots.
Josh Allen anytime. What you said that was at?
Minus 105.
Minus 105. All right.
I got Justin Herbert over 204.5 passing yards against the Chiefs.
Over, what is it?
Over 204.5.
204.5 passing against the Chiefs.
That's minus 114.
Uh-huh.
I got A.J. Brown anytime touchdown at home against the Raiders. That's plus 155.
Okay.
And then my alternate is Ravens Bengals over 51.5 at minus 110.
Over 51.5. And that's minus 110.
So which three you like out of them four?
All right. I love the 2 anytime touchdowns.
Okay.
It's going to be cold up in New England. Josh Allen's probably going to get anywhere from about 12 to 15 rushing attempts. So I love that one. I love the A.J. Brown as well. Raiders defense is terrible. Eagles need to get right. Also, I'm sure you saw it because I know you were watching it from the Chargers perspective, but you see how many targets A.J. Brown has been getting the last 3 years. A lot of targets. So against a bad secondary, a lot of targets. I think that's a great one as well.
And they almost connected on that play we spoke about earlier.
Yeah. I'm debating the Ravens Bengals over. Neither one of those defenses is good. That might be the safest bet. Not that I don't like the Jay Herbo, but in terms of what gives us, I think, a little bit more value, we might get more value from the Ravens Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna lean in towards Ravens Bengals. I think Herbo covers the 204 or 205.
Yeah, that's minus 114. Ravens the over minus 110.
We get a little bit more value there, but I'm thinking about from this how it plays out because Herbert was sacked a lot this week.
Yeah, 7 times.
Yeah. Chiefs defense is still good. Their offense ain't good, but their defense is still very good. What did he have in their first matchup? He went over that number in their first matchup. I know that, right?
Oh yeah, that was week 1. I have to go. Let me look real quick.
I'm pretty sure he went over that number. Yeah, he threw for 300 in that game.
Okay, in Brazil.
Yeah. And this game is in Kansas City.
Yeah, don't get me started on how we don't play them in LA this year. That's bullshit.
Yeah, they counted that first one as your home game. I say let's take the Ravens Bengals over.
Okay.
That just seems too easy, right? Like Bengals ain't got no defense. You know they're gonna air it out. Ravens got to be desperate. They got to score. Over 51 seems pretty fair. Listen, I got one right out the gate. Right out the gate.
What you got?
There's a plus 800, and I love it.
Ooh, what? +8. What's that?
Seattle defense anytime touchdown.
Against the Colts?
Absolutely. Do you know who's starting at quarterback this week, Will?
Old man Rivers.
He hasn't played football since COVID-19.
I know, that's crazy.
All right.
That is insane.
You're talking about, even if it was Riley Leonard, if it was Riley Leonard, I would love it even more. But I'm just thinking about a standpoint of, you're telling me, first of all, you can't simulate game speed. So I don't care if they be like, oh, he knows the offense. Okay, what that mean? He knows the offense. He has no timing with these receivers. He's got no type of timing with this offensive line.
None.
Right? Now you're going into a situation against one of the better defenses in all of football. They're going to blitz the hell out of you because you were never a mobile quarterback. Now you're telling me you were just on the couch? You're a statue. If they don't pick one off, this is going to be a strip sack. I love the plus 800. I think this is too easy. This is too easy right here. I'm taking Seattle anytime defense, anytime touchdown. I like that one a lot.
Okay.
I was looking at another over, which is the Dallas game against the Vikings. Now, Dallas is going to move the ball 47.5. I think that's a little low. I know we're worried about the Vikings offense more than anything. So maybe we wait on that one. But that's another one that I like.
What's the line in that?
The line for the game is 6.5. Now it's moved to Dallas, but the over-under is 47.5.
You like the 47.5? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think the over. Dallas, one of the best offenses in football. Vikings, I expect them to air it out because Dallas ain't really got much on the secondary as well. But we could wait on that one and see. Another one that I like outright, actually, no, there's another over-under that I like as well. It is, where is it at? Texans-Cardinals, 42.5. That's going under.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think that's going to Cardinals. They got no offense. Texans, one
of
the best.
That's a good bet right there.
Yeah, so I think the under on Texans-Cardinals, 42.5. If we're looking at straight up picks, I love the Monday night game. I hate to do it because it's going to hurt my ticket a little bit. I know you're aware of what Tua Tagovailoa's record is whenever it's under 40 degrees. They're going into Pittsburgh. It's going to be cold as shit. Pittsburgh is probably going to beat them.
Yeah, I took Pittsburgh.
I took Pittsburgh as well. The line originally was at 3. It's up to 3.5 right now. But even if we take them on a money line, it's minus 190.
Yeah.
And that's another one that's probably going to go under. Miami recently has been heavy on run game. They're not trying to air it out with Tua. We know what Pittsburgh wants to be. They want to slow things down. I just think there's no way Miami. If Miami goes in and wins, they're 7-7, Will, and their playoff hopes are alive somehow.
They don't want that.
Just a couple of weeks ago, we thought Mike McDaniels was going to test positive for cocaine.
Yeah.
And now somehow they're on a 5-game winning streak.
So what do you like out of that game? You like
I like Pittsburgh money line. I like the -3.
Okay.
Tua doesn't play well in cold weather.
Nah. It's cold as shit up here right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be brick Sunday. So I'm gonna say Pittsburgh +3. I'm gonna say Texans under 42.5 in that game against the Cardinals, and Seattle anytime. Seattle defense anytime touchdown. Let me see if we put that together right now. What it looks like.
Okay.
Let's see.
Wait, you took them straight up?
Who? Pittsburgh. I was gonna take the points.
Hold on, the 3.5.
Yeah, we can take 3.5. What else we're missing here? Let's see if they got the AJ Brown numbers for anytime touchdown. That way we can get an idea of what this ticket is looking like.
Oh yeah, that's up there. The AJ Brown's up there. That was plus 155 when I looked at it earlier.
AJ Brown, Ravens over. You going Josh Allen anytime touchdown, right?
Yep.
All right, and then last but not least, Seattle defense. The crazy part is I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts cover the 14 points because that's a lot of points.
I was looking at that. I thought that was disrespectful points.
Yeah, that's a lot
y'all
of
can
points.
just run the ball all day.
I was about to say, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just play ball control early because again, how many times do you really want Phillip Rivers dropping back to pass?
Right.
But those 6 things, if we go Pittsburgh -3.5, we go over on Ravens Bengals, we go under on Texans Cardinals, we go AJ Brown anytime touchdown, Josh Allen anytime touchdown, Seattle defense anytime touchdown. $10 gets us $3,191.
Yeah. That's a nice little payday.
I think I'm just gonna throw $5 on that right now.
You said 10,000?
No, $10 gets us $3,191.66.
I like that bet.
I mean, if you throw $1 on it, you're gonna get $3.19 back.
Yeah, you know how I roll.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna throw $5 on it. Throw $5 on it, I get $1,500 back.
See, I like that.
I'm gonna place that right now. Let's just lock that in.
Lock it in.
We'll give me a final thought before we wrap up the night.
For sure. Final thought would be for this week. Let's focus on the good stuff in sports right now because it's like I feel like the NFL's in a good spot, NBA's in a good spot. Let's keep it that way, and because right now it's no scandals in the NBA, right? Besides the coaching shit, I'm talking about as far as players.
Nah,
ain't no drama in the NFL right now. I just want everybody to keep it sports. But the main focus, the final thought is I'm going to be a Cleveland Browns fan for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because they playing with us in our face, man, with Shador. And I'm tired of it. I know you and Tripp probably touched on it extensively Monday. I'm trying, like I'm saying, let's keep the positives in sports, but there's an underlying tone that we cannot escape. And I thought, how many black quarterbacks started week 1 this year? Was it like 15?
Yeah, it was more than half the league.
Yeah, more than half.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you think you're turning the corner. But then you run into this Shador shit in Cleveland, and they still trying to, because it's been too much progression, they're trying to hold us back again in any way that they can. And they're doing it right in our face, y'all. We can't just be like, oh, well, we can't take the bullshit excuses in post-game presses. We can't take that anymore. And them naming Shador the starter for the rest of the year, no shit, Sherlock. Like that shouldn't even be a story. That shouldn't even be a headline right now. If you watch football, that goes without saying that dude is your starting quarterback. But I'm still not convinced that Cleveland wants any positivity to come from that young man starting and playing games for them. And Get out of Cleveland, bro. Do not try to go into in the next year to starter. They already came out and said Deshaun's going to be on the roster. Get out of there, bro. This is not conducive for you. You really don't deserve any of this shit that's been happening to you. You've done nothing wrong, in my opinion. But you're a leader. You have confidence. You have a good upbringing, and you have no drama, and that scares the establishment. That scares them. They don't want you to do it your way, especially when you're doing it with no snags. They don't like that, man. That makes them change the conversation, and they don't want to change the conversation. They want the conversation to be the same way. And as a fan base, I'm not saying a Cleveland Browns fan base, as fans of sports, we should not be sitting back and just letting this shit play out. We need to be more vocal. We need to be more assertive, and we need to let the people up top know that we see what y'all are doing, man, and this shit is not cool.
Right.
It's not cool.
I 1000% agree. I think Shador has handled this amazingly.
Crazy. Like, not to cut you off, because I did not touch on that. He has every reason to crash out. He's had every reason to crash out. And all he's done is said all the right things. When in the press conferences, when they ask him about Stefanski's idiocy, all he does is back up the coach that never had his back.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, the level of maturity that he's displayed, the way he's handled this situation, he's owed an apology by everybody who's supposed to be in the know. Because a lot of these same people were the one who was saying, oh, he bombed his interview. He was so arrogant. That's why he dropped in the draft. I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen any of that displayed from him. I haven't seen any arrogance, any cockiness, any entitlement. He's been a constant professional from day one, even though there were people within the organization that took jabs at him. He's been a constant professional in the way he's handled the media and the way he's engaged with his teammates. Like you said, he's had every right to want to crash out or kind of show his ass, but he hasn't. He's just showed up. He's played well. I'm happy that he was named the starter for the rest of the season, but that's still not enough because we knew from early on he should have been given a shot before the season started to win the job.
And if you're a Browns fan, what were y'all doing with wasting time with Dylan Gabriel all this time? This season was a complete wash.
This is why shout out to the group chat for the love of the game, where you and I had got into it with a couple people back and forth. When I say got into it, but just back and forth. We were saying there was no support from Shador, so we didn't even believe Shador was going to get a fair shot to stay on the roster. They were saying like we were crazy, but everything indicated that there was no support for Shador.
Yeah,
and it showed this whole season. And the only reason he got to play was because Dylan Gabriel got hurt. Exactly. If Dylan Gabriel doesn't get hurt, Shador never gets the chance. And let's not forget that even after his first start, Stefanski still wasn't 100% endorsing him and coming out and saying, oh, he's our quarterback. Now they're at a point where they got no choice. You just watch the quarterback throw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. You got to name him the starter.
Starting Shador is a backdoor cover for this whole regime, and they should all be out of there.
But I want to say this too, like I said, as we wrap up. I cannot wait. Shador's a 5th round pick, so there's no 5th year option with Shador, and none of his money is guaranteed. I hope the Browns do what the Browns have always done, and that's something stupid, and I hope they cut him. I've said this for a long time. I would love to see him land with Sean McVay in LA with a head coach that would truly work with him and help him get to that next level as a starting quarterback. Or even not Sean McVay, but any quarterback that at least wants him. Because the problem in Cleveland is not just that he's not getting opportunities. There is no support.
Yep.
Right? You have a head coach that doesn't want you. If this front office keeps Stefanski as the head coach next year, that's their way of saying
that's the choice.
Right.
Yep.
The
that's
choice
the choice.
is simple.
You picking Stefanski or you picking Shador?
Right. So the choice is simple. And I know there'll be some people who like Stefanski who say, well, he's a 2-time coach of the year. That doesn't mean that you can't be an idiot.
No, what you done
Be
lately?
An idiot. He's an idiot.
What have you done for me lately?
Right. So if you keep Stefanski, then do everyone a favor, cut Shador, and allow him to go to an organization that is going to support him and help him truly continue to develop. Because all the tools are there. We already see it's there. One of my biggest critique of Dylan Gabriel all along was that this dude is not an NFL quarterback. He can't stretch the defense. He can't throw the ball down the field.
Nope.
It's a dink and dunk quarterback. Meanwhile, Shador came in right away and started airing the ball out.
Yeah, so, immediately.
Right. Don't they both working with the same weapons, right? So how is Shador throwing for 300 yards with the same weapons?
They had like one completion over 19 yards in all of Dylan Gabriel's starts. And then Shador's first one, they had like 3 or 4 over 19 yards.
And I talked about that too. Dylan Gabriel, up until the time he got hurt, had 2 completions of 26 yards. Those were his 2 longest completions. Right away, Shador had a 53 and a 66-yarder in his first game.
Something crazy, yeah.
And in that game when he came in and relieved him when he was injured, he had a 26-yard pass. And only playing 1 quarter, he had already equaled with the longest Dylan Gabriel pass all season. So Shador deserves a shot. And as you said, I think we're not Browns fans. We're Shador fans. Let's be clear.
Exactly, yeah.
I hope Shador continues to light it up. I hope he continues to put pressure on the Browns. But as you always say, lose forever, because that's who they are, man.
Yep.
On that note, we're going to wrap up. Again, as always, guys, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. We'll be live again next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. over on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And it's Monday, 7 p.m., Real Fans, Real Talk. We're back live on the same platforms. Make sure you shoot us a like, shoot us a comment, subscribe to the podcast, lock in with us. Shout out to the whole comment section. Excuse me. Shout out to the comment section, rocking with us tonight. And we'll see you guys on Monday. For my brother, Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez. This was the Sanchez Show. We out of here.